Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and bonjour, and welcome to this, the last 2022 Table Ready live stream. It is the last one before Christmas, which is why I'm wearing a silly hat. I do not usually look like this. So I am Harry from Fog of War, and this is...
G'day, Adam from Dice of War. My silly hat won't fit, but if anyone, I've got a fez. I love my fez. It's a Madness fez. If anyone knows Madness, the band,
I
which
do
just
know
won't
Madness
fit.
the band.
Just won't fit. But anyway,
It won't.
I've got a silly hat.
I am not going to look like this through the entire thing. I absolutely
Probably a good idea.
refuse to do that. But I just thought that we should acknowledge that it is going to be the last one of the year. We are going to prognosticate in public.
Just night vision goggles.
Yeah.
That's a good
All
one,
right.
guy.
It is. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna take this off. So you may have noticed that we don't have a Christian. That's very sad. He's actually not well. He tested not well yesterday. People want me to keep it on. Yeah, that's what people usually say when I do stripping. It's like, no, put it back on.
No, put it back.
Yeah. That's why there's no pole to pole dance in the new studio here. So Christian's not feeling very well. He is, however, in the comments, so everybody can say hi to Christian and wish him the best.
Hey, Christian.
So
Slacker. You better be painting.
Slacker. So it's been a really good month for me. Fog of War had its best month ever. Interestingly, my Red Dawn preview video went absolutely bananas. Everybody loved it. It's had like 20 times more views than is usual on my channel, which is fantastic. So thank you, everybody. And Adam, what Christmas sale have you got for everybody for the festive season from Dice of War?
So I do have a Christmas sale. It's usually the buy two, get one free. But unfortunately, Australia Post has said that if I post anything overseas, like by now, it's not going to make Christmas. So there will be a Christmas sale. But unfortunately, it probably won't make it to you unless you're in Australia. But I'll put that up on the website. It'll be the usual buy two, get one free. And you just have to contact me via either the Facebook Messenger on the page or email me as well at sales@diceofwar.com.au, and we can sort that out.
All right. And for Christian, even though he's not here, a couple of videos I've seen of his this month, he did the very nice Eureka Miniatures Australians and Chindits, which were great. I actually have a bunch of modern Australians from Eureka that I bought to review ages and ages ago, and they are really, really nice figures. I really must pull my finger out and actually go and review those because they are absolutely lovely. So shout out to Eureka Miniatures.
They actually put a post up of his stuff today, his Chindits, and he's done an excellent job with the figures. But what about the basing? I thought the basing on that looked excellent. The little ferns and the what did you use? Oregano or something for the jungle floor, the matting. That looks. Everyone check it out on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks really good.
Makes me very embarrassed because mine's like watered down Play-Doh and sand and commercial flock and a bit of glue and
I look at my early basing attempts and it's just terrible. So I think it's a neglected part of the hobby. You kind of go, I want to get my miniatures to look really, really great, and then you're like, I'll just paint the base green, But it really sets it off when you can actually get really good at basing.
So anyway, let's get on to tonight's topic. We, as I said, are going to prognosticate. We are going to try and guess what it is that Battlefront is going to do. So their plans for the future. So Painting Panzer said it was time for the lead scatter. So
time.
Yes, herbs. Right.
Same difference, whatever.
Yeah. Some sort of herbs. Okay, so Battlefront's plans for the future. Now, None of this is sanctioned by Battlefront. Battlefront don't know
Or
they're doing
official.
this, or official, or nothing. We are just a couple of dudes in Western Australia making our best guess
Mm-hmm.
for what we might see in the future.
Yep.
Now, Christian was here because he was going to fight for the 14th Army
The
for the
Forgotten
Pacific,
Army.
for the Brits, the Forgotten Army, but we're going to forget that.
Yeah, we forgot
So,
about it
yeah,
already.
no, remember, no English.
Thought there was some
So,
Gurkhas there.
oh dear. So let's get started with that. So I want to start with Team Yankee because it's been pretty exciting with Red Dawn. Red Dawn was a bit of a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was the direction you thought Battlefront might jump with that one.
I thought they would go there eventually. I just didn't think they would go there as fast as they did. I thought they would kind of flesh out maybe the minor nations in Europe with Team Yankee and maybe expand on the French or something and some of those other ones. I didn't think they'd go to that as fast as they did. But, I mean, given the reactions it's had by a lot of people,
Yeah.
and how absolutely awesome those new VDV beautiful metal figures
metal
are.
figures.
Yeah, I think it's obviously a good decision on their part, and it just I think gives people wanting more. Looking forward to the new stuff when it comes out.
I may this week have accidentally ordered a great deal of that stuff from Singapore from Blitz.
It fell into your shopping cart.
Look, I looked and it said it was in stock, and I went, it's only money. And now it's not money, but hopefully it'll get here one day. Probably not before Christmas. I still have a bunch of stuff in the review queue, but man, I'm looking forward to some of that Red Dawn stuff.
I know. I want to get that Scud, whatever it is, the objective marker. That looks cool.
I do not have any room for any of those huge helicopters, though.
No, I think I'll need to get one, but I know they're limited, so I'll have to make up my mind soon.
Yeah, you don't want to miss out. Anyway, so yeah, we did talk about the idea that there is still in the current rotation of Team Yankee version 2, Free Nations and Oil War, which were both V1 releases that might get a bit of a tart up. That would be my guess. Do you think that's a reasonable assumption to make?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
So Free Nations was what? The French, the Dutch, the Australians, and the Canadians? Yeah.
Yep.
I know a lot of people are really looking forward to some more Canadian stuff.
I know as a French player, I'm really looking forward to a Leclerc coming out as Joshua Metabets. I know he was talking about Macava 3, which is another one I'm looking forward to. But yeah, Leclerc for the French, I think would be cool. But yeah, the minor nations, I reckon Sweden. Sweden would be awesome with the S-Tank. I'd love to see that.
That would be a lot of fun. So who have we got? Denmark, Belgium, Sweden. Those are the sorts of ones that could get fleshed out, do you think?
Yep. So Denmark, Belgium, Sweden. I always get confused between the Netherlands and Denmark. I don't know why. I know they're two different countries, but
they are.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have a Danish friend. They would not be happy.
No.
So Ben's mentioning somebody teased a Grizzly, a 6-wheel Aslav.
Who? What? Did they?
Yeah, apparently. I think it might have been in the background of some of the art for Red Dawn that people have grabbed onto. So I don't know. I've seen a couple of comments about that, but that would be a fun thing for them to introduce for the Canadians.
Yeah, because isn't that a specialist recon vehicle or something? That Grizzly?
I think if you released the Grizzly, if you did that chassis, there was a recon one, and there were a couple of other specialist vehicles.
Okay, I'm not. I know they had like weird names like that, but yeah, like a mongoose. I don't know. Anyway,
I don't know about any mongoose, but yeah, we'll see what we can do. What else? Hopefully they'll do something sensible with the Australians because the Australian list seemed a little rushed. I think there's some wiggle room there to change some of those, and I'm looking at you,
So,
cavalry platoon, cavalry
so I
squadron.
think I think with that, talking to a lot of veterans that I know, they played around with a lot of the composition of those cavalry elements in the 80s, and it got really sort of jumbled around. So they could have had a book that said it's got X, Y, and Z in it,
Mm.
and then a year or 6 months later, they might have changed it with, a different composition. So because I do know a couple guys that were there, and they said, yeah, no, 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 it's this, but I can see why you got this composition.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
absolutely being able to have two fire support vehicles in a
yeah.
troop.
You'd think they would probably change that given the feedback they had from veterans. So
Yeah, they probably
yeah,
would, which would be
it'd be
very
nice
cool.
if we got like a. Well, you can already do like a new Australian one with like Abrams, and like it'd be cool to see a Bushmaster and a proper Aslav and all that sort of thing. But I
Would
don't know
they
if
do
they.
that given they have a plastic kit of
Yeah,
the?
I don't
Yeah,
know. It'd be
I
nice.
think
It's one of
more
those things that'd
likely
be
they
nice. But yeah.
they would give you a list that you could use it in, and I
Mm.
mean the only thing that's obviously different on the outside would be um, the exhaust. Is that correct? The marine um, LAVs have a different exhaust than the Australians
I'm
went
not
for.
sure. Yeah.
That's anyway, whatever.
Mm. Dutch
Uh,
Marines had Sherman tanks.
yeah,
Really?
Spamurai is really going on about
Oh, how many
Shermans for
Shermans? Yeah, okay, yeah.
for the Dutch Marines and for the Cubans apparently. So
The
yep, that'll be
Cubans had
great.
Shermans too, yeah. Everyone's got
So
Sherman.
anyway, this is what I'm expecting that we would see. So we'll see a refreshed Free Nations with a bunch of fun
Hmm.
stuff in it. And there is some scope in there. Like they could fold in a couple of extra cool nations into something like that, or even spin it out as a separate book. I don't know
Yep.
how they'd approach that. And you think in Oil War that they'd go for something like a Macabre 3?
Yeah, they'd have to. I mean, if they, I don't know. I haven't built the kit, but you think they would have future-proofed it so it's already got the. Can it? I don't know. Can it make a Macabre 3?
No, completely different turret shape. Although I
Oh,
wonder if you could do it with
like
an
have the
add-on
have the chassis
sprue.
the same, have the chassis the
Yeah,
same, but the turret different.
yeah. So it's entirely possible they'd do it the same way as they did the T72B and the T64BV. They'll actually have an add-on sprue, so you'll get the standard MacArthur 1 and 2
Mm,
kit and the add-on thing or with a new turret.
yeah.
That would probably work.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure Trekken's commented maybe they're waiting to see if Battlegroup Syntax will be successful. I'm pretty sure they're already planning on doing this. It's just they've decided to put out um, the Red Dawn first before they did the other stuff. What would you reckon we would see though, as far as a difference for Warsaw Pact?
In what way?
Well, as in, would they flesh that out anymore? I mean, I know we've already got
Oh, you mean go back and I
add
thought they'd
extra
already really covered that with the
because you've got the
SU-22 coming
Polish,
in.
the Czechs. What
Don't
else?
know. I
We've
don't
got
know because
Hungarians
I
that you
think
could
they've already
do.
covered that.
I don't know. I'm just yeah.
So Christian's busy shouting about the Pacific. I think he wants to go to Flames of War already.
Well, you should have come on the
He should
stream,
have come
man. You
on.
could
Yeah,
have
it's
talked
your own
about it.
fault, man.
Hmm.
The link's still there if you,
Yeah.
you know.
He'll just sign language mime
Yeah,
or whatever. Yeah.
we'll turn his subtitles on. That'll
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he can't speak at the moment. He can just make rude gestures. Okay, so there's those. The thing
Mm.
that everybody keeps talking about that I want to talk about with this
Uh huh.
is Checkpoint Charlie.
Uh huh.
I want this. Man,
You
I
want it?
want a plastic Centurion so bad it's not funny. And
Well,
there are
I'm pretty
so
sure
many.
they hinted that they're going to have them in that other one. They said there is going to be a plastic Centurion.
Yeah. And this
Yeah.
would be the perfect thing to put it into. And then that flows through into NAM, Fate of a Nation, Um, yeah, all of those could really, really use a
So,
plastic
so
Centurion.
what's this? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's my age or whatever. What's this whole thing about Checkpoint Charlie? Why do you want that? I mean, for me, I didn't even. I kind of know about it, but I don't really know what the.
Oh man, you really missed that. I grew up in the Cold War.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, spy stories, getting across the wall in between East and West
yeah.
Berlin. Yeah, yeah. And basically, what it will be, as far as I can tell, is it will be the European version of Nam and Fate of a Nation. So
Mm,
it will be like Team Yankee early. So these were some of the guesses that I had. I was guessing a plastic M48 pattern
yep.
because, again, that flows through to
Well, why not? There's so many other
Fate of a
things.
Nation and what have you.
Mm,
Um, and even Nam, because I mean they fielded those in Vietnam. And my other guess was the IS-3 or the JS-3
well, is it? What's it?
heavy
Is it
tank.
also called a T10 or something?
The later version is the T10, where they changed it. They modernized it. They basically had a modernization program,
Oh, okay.
and it's got a very very different muzzle brake on the gun. But if Battlefront did it, it would be very
Mm,
simple for them to do, as they've done with the engineering of their other kits,
yep.
that you would have one that makes this for, like, if you wanted to play a 1946 style, 47 style game, you could
Mm,
fold those into your Russians.
mm,
But the same kit would still make the T10 as well, so you could roll that out later.
mm. And also with you could plastic centurion, you could use that for bush wars as well as like
Oh yeah,
some of the European minor nations or something. I think they had centurions as well. Was it Denmark or
yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah, Denmark had them. There was a whole bunch. So yeah, those were my guesses for Checkpoint Charlie, and this has been being talked about for a while.
Yeah,
So,
blah 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 blah. All
oops,
separate tank
Spammerized
families.
busy saying no, no, no.
And this something
Uh,
mentioning raving something
IS3,
about a TR-85. I don't know. Is that some kind of Sherman again?
I don't know, could be
Yeah. No, I think it's a Romanian.
all
Uh,
separate tank families. Yeah, it's interesting though because I think they are similar enough that you could make a plastic kit that would do them. But again,
mm.
okay, I will have to go and look at that.
Walker Bulldog. Eric Craig said Walker
Yeah,
Bulldog. I
that's a good
love the Walker
idea.
Bulldog. That looks great. I've always wanted one, and I've gone to buy it, and it's not happened. And yeah, but anyway, I'll get one day.
Yeah. And because we were talking about that, so I'm not sure what you do with the infantry because the current Team Yankee British infantry, for example, have later kit. They're still SLRs, but they've got later helmets and what have you. You know, the 1950s
Yeah,
and early 60s, they look a little
I
different. I'm not sure what they'd do with that. I'm
I
really
don't know.
not.
I mean, on the one hand, you could probably go, well, they're close enough, especially with the Soviet ones,
Yeah.
that you go use the same ones that we got. And then on the other hand, I'm like, well, if they make new ones, there's a fair chance if they're not a big massive run, they would do them in metal instead of that fine cast or
Thermoplastic.
whatever it is. So, which I'm always a fan of, if more metal. But
Christian wants
yeah,
to know if the Brits will get Land Rovers. Man, if
it's the
they have Land
British
Rovers, I would be extremely happy.
Land Rovers. What are they going to do? Just blow up?
No, they're for towing around my
But they
towed
don't.
rapier.
But they don't even. British don't even arm their Land Rovers. It's not like the Americans where they whack a big 50 cal on the back of their Jeep or something.
Yeah.
British just, yeah, they're transports. Boring. But it would be cool to have. Yes.
So if we are talking Checkpoint Charlie, I was also having a bit of a think because this was mine. I drew this
Yeah.
one about what sort of aircraft you could get,
Mm.
and again, there would have to be guesses about. They wouldn't make brand new aircraft for it, but if there were existing plastic kits, they might. And I know there are definitely plastic kits that they might be able to get licenses for the F4 Phantom. I think Dragon did an A7 Corsair. Now that would be fun to have a flight of those on the table.
Wombat. Yeah. Is that a Corsair up there?
Yeah, that's an A7 Corsair dropping
Yeah.
the
I kind
Mark
of thought it was
82.
Crusader for a second, but they're a little bit different.
Yeah. It is actually the same family, but the Crusader's the fighter variant of
Yeah.
of
It
that,
was
the
the
aerial
last. It
fighter.
was the last gunfighter, wasn't it? The
Yeah,
last
lovely
gun.
aircraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. I remember watching a couple of videos, and they said that they were really, really good to handle.
So I was intrigued what we'd do with Soviets, though, because at that stage it would have been Su-7, Su-17, Su-9, that kind of stuff.
Mm.
So it would depend. There might be some Eastern European manufacturers they could find who had plastic kits for that. But to be honest, some of the Copro kits and what have you, yeah, I don't know. We'd have to see. But again, you might be able to do Su-22 and just field them as Su-17s. I mean, the wings don't swing anyway.
A MiG-21, they'd probably... Oh, no, that wasn't out yet? I don't know. Yeah.
MiG-21 was out, but they didn't start switching them over, I think, to ground attack until after they stopped being a frontline fighter. Right. But I'm willing to be entirely wrong on that.
I got no idea.
That's not my area of expertise. But anyway, I put some pretty plain pictures up so that we had something to talk about. But I think a plastic Phantom, if they could nick Academy's mold for the Phantom and just plug those things out, a lot of people would be very, very happy to add those in a lot of different eras.
And someone mentioned new Warpack forces could be Bulgarians. Yeah, entirely possible. And NATO Turkish.
NATO
and Greek.
Turkish?
Yeah,
that'd be fun. Although, again, I'm sure Battlefront are worried about, what do they call it? Skew creep. Having so many different products in their product lineup that, it's hard enough for people to keep a decent stock of some stuff in the first place.
I think, but what they could do is do something similar to the community cards for Flames of War, where if someone's willing to put the time in and put together a fan sort of unofficial PDF of, let's say, Greek, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then list, like they used to do with the PDFs in version 3, and say, here's a list of figures that you can use to substitute that we already make.
Yeah.
To represent these guys.
Their other option would be to do what Plastic Soldier Company did ages ago, and they ran a Kickstarter to do, I think it was their plastic 25-pounders and what have you.
Yep. I remember that.
And there was a level that they got to where they said, we need this much money to make this happen.
Yeah.
I remember them smashing through it because I backed it a lot.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people did. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was great.
I think, someone said Italy. Or maybe I just thought it in my head. I'd like to see Italy for Team Yankee as an expansion.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
We've got
what
some
time
really cool
period,
vehicles.
though?
Probably have to be 80s, obviously, like mid to
so standard
80s.
Team Yankee.
Yeah. Because if you go too far in the future, but you could get those cool vehicles, like the wheeled. I can't remember the name.
The Centauro.
Vehicle, yeah, the Centauro. Yeah, that looks sweet. But yeah. But here's my slide: Team Yankee Bush Wars. So I know Pete's a big fan of Bush Wars. So I'm pretty sure they are going to go ahead with this. I just don't know when. But so the things that I would definitely think they're going to have, first is the Retel. So that's that IVF in the top left. So it's got a few different variants. It's got the original one was an APC, a mine-resistant vehicle.
So that's the wheeled.
That's the wheeled one under the Table Ready live stream. So it was a replacement for the French wheeled armored car. The starts with E.
I know the one you mean.
The Eland, is it Eland? Anyway, so it was a replacement for that, and it first started off as.
Is that French 105 gun?
Yeah, well, that's
Neil
the same
Young
turret.
says Eland. So they took the turret off that.
They took the turret. So that thing started off as a 20 mil French turret with a
Yeah.
20 mil cannon, and it had really, really good off-road capability. Like, it'd just outdo
Go
everything else.
everywhere. Yeah.
And in that shape of the hole, it'd bust through the bush, so it could just go through anything. There's pictures of it with a whole tree in front of it and just still going. Then they got, well, we need to upgun it because we want it to replace the Eland. So they basically put the Eland turret on the top there. It's also got a mortar variant, an 80 millimeter mortar, and I think another big 120 millimeter mortar. But they're excellent vehicles. Yeah, and they're all locally made because they're under an embargo and they couldn't get any vehicles.
So if Battlefront made a plastic kit of this, they'd be able to then
do multiple variants.
On the one
sorry,
sprue.
that's the 20 millimeter version
Down in the bottom corner.
right. Yeah, so that's that. And then we've also got the Rukiat, which is underneath the 20 mil, the 105 millimeter one, 75 millimeter one. So that's probably a little bit late. This is probably kind of more a 90s vehicle. But this thing is super, super fast, pretty accurate. And the South Africans love them. I don't know if anyone else has bought any, but I know the Rattels certainly got exported to other countries.
And that thing in the top corner is Centurion with the party dress on, isn't it?
That's right. That's the Elephant 2B. So pardon me, the Elephant, 1B, the first one.
Yeah.
Looks pretty much like a normal Centurion. It's got a few extra stowage bins and whatever, but I believe they put a whole totally different engine in it, so it was faster, better off-road. Then they realized that
so like we can rebuild it, we have the technology.
Yeah, well, they had to rebuild it because that's all they had, and they had to do with whatever they had. And then they were worried about the T-72. So they knew the Centurion can take on the T-55 and the 62.
Yeah.
But they were worried about the T-72, and the Russians were supporting the Cubans, who were supporting the Angolans. So they upgraded it further, and it's basically an entirely new tank. It's, I think it's got the part of the chassis. Everything else is brand new. It's you can't really even call it a Centurion anymore. It's not. It's an Elephant. Yeah. So.
I don't know if you can see the chat, but the chat's still going bonkers about they want Land Rovers with guns on.
Land Rovers with guns. But the other really cool thing the South Africans did, they had these mobile artilleries. So it was a G5. I've written it down. I can't find my bloody thing.
Yeah, I didn't have enough room to put all the slides
on. They had the G5 Denel.
Yeah.
And that was the first one that they needed for it was an artillery, and they had its own laser range finding on it and sighting, so it was pretty much its own It wasn't self-propelled. It had wheels on it, a big wheel chassis, so it could get transported around.
Right.
But they didn't make a lot of those. But then they made the G6 Rhino, which was the same as a 155 millimeter gun, self-propelled.
Yeah.
And it was really fast. Had the similar running gear like the Rattel, 6x6, and I think they got exported as well. Right. But everyone was very, very impressed by those. So I think you'll see, if they were to do bush wars, you would definitely see all those vehicles. As far as infantry, I think they'd have to do their own new infantry, similar to like what they did with the Australians.
Yeah, fair enough. So Christian says he thinks he's given you COVID from the comments.
I hope not.
So the next slide is Bush Wars, and we were thinking about who would the opponent be for the South Africans, and the obvious one was Angola.
Yep.
A couple of guys I served with actually went as mercenaries to Angola.
On which side?
Their side.
The Angolan side?
I couldn't tell you. The only thing I
Right.
know was they contacted us, and you know those combination spoon and can opener things out of Australian ration packs?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They asked us to send over as many of those
Send
as we
many,
could
send
scavenge.
many.
Send many. Yeah.
Uh,
So apparently, getting spoons and stuff for their ration packs was a
yeah.
priority.
No, I bet.
Uh, so if we're talking Angola, there's a whole bunch of stuff on that slide that already exists.
Yep. And I think that's the easy thing for BF because pretty much all that stuff that is there already. So you've got T-3485s up in the top left that they
Yep,
had.
not T-44s, as Eric was asking.
No, I don't
No.
think they got no T-44s made it out of World War II, I believe. You've got a PT-76, the black and white one.
Yeah,
So they definitely had
that would
those.
be a nifty plastic kit.
Mm. And you've got the BTR there down the bottom with all the guys on the
Mm-hmm.
top. The Soviet paratrooper, maybe? I don't know. I don't think
That
so.
would be a Cuban advisor, I'm imagining,
Yeah,
but
I
I
think
could be wrong.
you're probably right. And I was
Spammerai says Angola had Sherman tanks until the end of the Cold War.
blah, blah, blah. I think everyone had Sherman tanks, didn't they? He just wants to feel. Anyway, and there you've got I think that's a T-62.
No,
Down the
that's
bottom.
a T-55.
That's a T-55. Okay.
You can tell by the position of the bore evacuator and the shape of the hull and the spacing of the road wheels.
Excellent.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
Cold was my thing, man.
Yeah. And then so next to that's the Eland, the Rettel. See the guys.
So
at
four-wheeled, yeah, I saw that, the four-wheeled armored
so that's
car.
the Eland. That's the French one that they had, and then they produced. And behind it is a Rettel. I think it looks like a 20 millimeter one, or maybe a command one.
Oh, Joshua just made a very interesting comment. The Indo-Pakistani Wars. They already have the Shermans for it. Yeah. What would that be? That would be Centurions versus...
I don't know. Probably. Well, the Pakistanis seem to have a lot of American equipment, and the Indians seem to have a lot of British equipment until they went Russian.
Yeah, the Pakistanis, depending on what era you went for, had plenty of Type 69s.
Okay.
So there are actually, the Chinese version of the T-55, which there are parts for in the plastic kit already. So that would be cool.
Libya versus Chad. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. I mean, I wonder if they could do if they would expand it into a whole Africa sort of list. I mean, now I know Christian really likes the Rhodesians, and I think they're cool too.
Yep.
I would just, I think they'd have to come in as like their own standalone unit, like a special forces kind of team. I don't know if they had a lot of. Their fight wasn't really a lot of vehicles. It was sort of helicopters, aircraft, and just light infantry, as far as I know. I could be wrong.
Now, I am going to make a stab. I think that's Anatoly is asking about the Far East, Soviet landing in Japan, Second Korean War, for example. That would be interesting.
I think they could do that. They could go into the Pacific later, I guess, and do things like Korea.
Korea gone wrong. Hey, there are novels of that. Yeah, I can send them. What is it? 38 North Yankee was the novel I read about
I haven't read that one.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
So I think that's the kicking off of the Korean War again.
But I think with the Bush Wars, a lot of the Angolan stuff's already made. They've already got it.
Yeah.
So the only hard thing is
that would be easy to do.
Is probably all the unique South African stuff, which I think a lot of people would actually want that. Like I know if they brought out Bush Wars, I'd just be like, great, I'm playing South Africa. So because I just love cool kit, unique kit like that.
I mean, that might make it economical for Battlefront though, because it would be a case of they have one nation where they've got most of the stuff, and then they've got one nation where it's all unique and interesting stuff that they have to make. So, I mean, that might be a way for it to be, we can do this because half the work's done.
Yeah.
Except for the plastic PT-76, by the way, he says, looking into the camera.
Well, I would imagine that would be done soon.
Yeah. So we were also talking about air support for that particular theatre. So
Love a
yeah,
Buccaneer.
MiG-21s. A Buccaneer would be fun.
Nuclear armed Buccaneer.
Nuclear armed Buccaneer. There'd have to be rules for it. You could only buy one for 100 points.
99
with one
points.
nuke.
You need an
99
observer.
points because you need an observer. Okay, yep.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, the South Africans had nuclear armed Buccaneers. They didn't tell anyone until after apartheid, but yeah.
Yeah. The one thing we have to do, though, is we really, really have to make sure that Battlefront don't license the Academy MiG-23.
Oh, okay.
Because that thing looks like it was carved by a condemned man out of soap.
Well, to be honest, that plane there looks like it was carved out of soap as well.
Yeah. But no,
Maybe it's
the
realistic.
Academy kit, from the engine intakes back, it's a great kit. The nose and the cockpit, it's like, man, that's not even the right scale. It's like,
What else these?
Anyway, so we've got a few people in the comments who are asking Flames of War stuff, which I think is where we go here, given that we're 36 minutes in.
Yep.
So this is confirmed that this is coming, isn't it? This is a thing.
There is a Berlin book coming for both Soviets and Germans.
So that isn't the thing for it, by the way. I stole that one. I think that's the version 3.
That's the old one.
That's the old Berlin book. Might even be the version 2 book. Anyway, that's yeah. I just needed something to fill the screen up with.
No, that's good.
But Pete spoiled on Modelling for Advantage that they were going to do a plastic Panzer II kit, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, he said something like that. I mean, imagine they'd also use it for when they eventually redid Early War.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah, absolutely.
I'm just trying to work out. I can't remember or think of why there is a plastic Panzer II in Berlin.
He said something about it, but yeah, I don't know why either. So
Oh, look, Spamro wants more Shermans. That's a
I think he
surprise.
does. Enter. So what? No, I want one of those. What were those really stupid, like 203mm guns on their own little tractor that they used to trundle down Berlin roads and just like blow the far end of the block off, the Russian?
Yeah. It's like a caterpillar with a tractor with a big gun slapped on the back. I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name, but yeah, they made a model of those, didn't they?
Did they? Oh, no idea.
It was direct-to-it only, I think.
But yeah, so we've had hints of stuff like the anti-aircraft half-track kit also has the gubbins in it to make the Pack 40 armed half-track.
Oh yes, yeah. So they've got their future-proofed
the SDKFZ
half-track
251-22.
So the one in So I mean, I guess we would probably see that, and the same for the Puma with the Pack 40 on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I would imagine that they would be in that. And if you go back and look at what models they've already got. So for the Germans, you've got the Waffenträger, which is that massive gun with the gun shield on the it's the Tiger gun, I think. Not Tiger, the Jag Tiger gun on.
So
on
would
a
they
Panzer IV
do
chassis.
some of the late war Leviathans?
I don't know if it'd be for this, but the way that I can think, I think they would do a late war Leviathan. Because didn't Pete mention something about a mouse?
Yeah, that would be fun.
So, I mean,
they
if you're
shouldn't
going
let
to do
you
a
have
mouse,
more than 2, though.
I don't even know if you'd be able to afford more than one. But But yeah, I think they made 2, or did they make 1.5? I can't remember.
They made
Yeah.
1.5. They had one with the turret that they sent into action, and they had one that was just a hull.
Mm.
Because the thing in the Kubinka Tank Museum is
Mm.
that hull, and then they resurrected the dead turret to put on it. I think that's again. I'm
Yeah.
talking off the top
Yeah.
of my head.
And yeah, as Joshua Meadows, the Bogward, the ones, the
Oh yeah,
the demolition vehicle with all the
Mm.
Shreks slapped onto it. It's got a different name, but yeah, I know what he's talking about. So you'd imagine they would be in it. Yeah, I mean, Painting Pens is asking for metal HG. Did they have metal Hitler Jugend? What does he mean, Hermann Goring?
no idea.
Not sure. He's
So
delirious
Christian, we're
with
talking.
COVID.
He's delirious with COVID.
Delirious with
No,
COVID.
we just have to ignore
Yeah.
him. No,
Yep. So yeah, like
absolutely.
some guys are mentioning, like the IS-3 and the mouse. You'd think they would
that
be
would be fun.
they'd
They
be
would
the
be interesting
equivalent
wildcards.
Leviathan. So I don't know what else they would put. Maybe a rat. That'd be pretty cool. Just one big table with a rat. The land the land battleship. Just
And just every turn you roll to see if it breaks down.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
oh,
Oh, you're
no,
crossing
you
a
lose.
bridge. Oh, who cares? We just go roll.
Well, no,
right over it.
you've put it in drive. Oh,
Yeah.
no,
No,
these bits fell off.
yeah. Yeah, I've seen
Actually, it
that there's
would
a
be
rat.
cool because you'd have to have 2 tables because one would have the rat on it and then the other one would be its target.
Yeah, yeah.
So it would, you would just measure the range over to the other table.
Yep. Yeah, we played a game in a hall once, and we kind of used the same because we wanted that different. So for ranges, so yeah, you do something like that, play on the floor of a hall.
Yep.
But yeah.
So Spammer is saying there was a rat model in
There is.
1/100th. I believe Herbert
Forged
Erbert
in
on his channel built that. And
Forged
it's
in Battle makes it,
gigantic.
I think. Yeah.
Painting Panzers says a German UFO.
Sure.
Now that would
Great.
be funny. I would love one of those.
Yeah.
To
But
have
I'm
as a,
just well. What about what was the Panther with the 2 anti-aircraft guns? It was
the curling.
yeah,
Curlian. Yeah.
Oh, Kugelblitz.
Kugelblitz, that's it.
I have.
Oh, he's out of his chair. He's off.
I
What's he doing?
have a here. Was it here 46?
Oh, yep.
He made a Kugelblitz turret, so I put a Panzer J.
Yeah.
With a Kugelblitz, but I could only get 2, so I need 2 more. If anyone's got Kugelblitzes from here 46, I will give you a king's ransom for 2. But yeah, I think Kugelblitz, you definitely have to have those. They just look so awesome. I don't know what it is with me and self-propelled anti-aircraft guns.
Yeah.
But these just look brilliant.
Oh, somebody wants civilians for Berlin.
Civilian. Just get the Hitler.
Is that like collateral damage?
Oh, I know what he's talking about now. Not the Hitler Jugend.
Yeah,
It was the Volks.
Volks
know,
Grenadiers?
Yeah, but the remember they had the German in Berlin with the metal infantry with the basically civilians with weapons. That was the those guys.
Wow.
Maybe that's what he's talking about.
That would hurt.
No.
But anyway, so that is coming, and those are our guesses for what might be in that.
Yep. And someone asked about Emcha. I mean, I guess that's where you'd put it if they were going to put it. So
if it's not in any of the other books, you'd have to put it in there.
Well, it's not in any of the other books. So that's the only. If it was to be in anything, that's where it's going to be.
So the Pacific. Oh, Volksturm.
Yes, Volksturm.
Yes,
thank you.
Volksturm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trekan, indeed.
Brain aneurysm.
Well, we're doing this stuff live on stage, so.
Yeah.
So, this is Christian's part. Take it away, Christian. Oh, no, we're going to have to do it.
Oh, okay. Righto.
So, Frog, Matilda Frog. I want Australians with Matildas that throw flame.
Yep.
Plastic Matildas.
They love them too, because they wouldn't get bogged in anything.
Yeah.
They just ram through the forest and just burn everything.
I went to the Puckapunyal Museum, and there's like a half a dozen of the damn things stuffed
Oh,
in
really?
sheds, and yeah.
You, I mean, how good would it be to have one of those done up and working at the Arms and Artillery Museum in Cairns? I would pay
Uh,
money to watch them with a working Matilda frog.
I went to the Arms and the Artillery Museum a couple of years ago, not long after it opened, and yeah, I need to go back because I've been watching their Workshop Wednesdays thing about all the restoring they're doing
Yeah,
of, you see these guys go onto a farm and they're like tipping
mm,
over Lee Grant chassis that had just been rusting in the
yeah,
sun for 80
yeah.
years
Oh, we
and
just need some
pulling
spare
pulling
parts.
springs
Yeah,
out of them. Yeah, we need a
yeah,
couple of springs to make this
yeah.
other one a runner. If you've got nothing to do on a Wednesday, watch those workshop things. That's so much fun.
Hmm.
So yeah, Australians with that. Stewarts we already have, but having those being able to be used
Yeah.
in the
Someone said the
Pacific would be fun.
M3A1 Satan flamethrower tank. Yep,
Yeah, that would be fun.
yep.
Don't. That's already on the sprue.
Well, yep.
The the turret for that's there.
So,
It drove me bananas when I was doing the review. I'm looking this
oh,
thing
trying to
up,
work out
going,
what it
"What
was.
is that?" And yeah, it's the flamethrower variant, so it's already in there.
Mm.
Buffaloes. So Battlefront have previously had buffaloes
Yeah.
in both the Pacific, and the Brits used
Well,
a
they
ton
called
of
them
them.
gators. I think the Americans called them gators or
Right.
something, didn't
Yeah.
they? Yeah.
So yeah, the British ones they used a lot in the Polderland in
Yep.
um, Holland.
Yeah, in the Schlelt.
And yeah, down in the bottom corner there, that's a Japanese Chiha tank.
Yep.
The
Now,
Pacific is,
do you think they would do those sort of the stuff you see in World of Tanks, like the Chi-Ha with the wing, the kind of, I guess you could almost call them mid-war monsters for Japan because they're not
yeah.
really late war tanks. I'd like to see that. I don't know how popular it'd be or if it. I mean, I
When you
would
talk
think.
about how popular it would be, there are still a ton of those paper Panzer Japanese things in the back end of Aetherworks' thing. So if anybody actually wants a Niho 75 millimeter or whatever it is that they've still got stuck in their thing,
Is
I'm
it?
guessing they weren't red hot sellers.
I think
So
that's it. Like they have to make it so expand it so it's not just because that was the problem. They made it so you could only use the Japanese in mid was it early war and late
yeah,
war
something like
and
that.
and you couldn't really do a mid-war Japanese because and the points didn't mix. So they'd have to make it so the points mix with the rest of them. That's the only. I think
So
that's part of the reason why it was limited.
the comment I was going to make though was the Pacific is a very different kind of war,
Yep.
and when you boil it all down, Battlefront games are tank games. Guns
Mm.
and infantry play a part, but they are essentially tank games. Like you normally field infantry as a backup to a tank unit.
Mm.
Even if you take an infantry formation, you need, it's not a good infantry game. You just end
Yep.
up rolling lots of dice until enough stands fall over that
Oh,
something happens.
I see. I
Early
saw some
war can be
guys.
fun. I mean, cavalry charging my Vickers machine guns guys and stomping all over them was actually pretty fun.
Mm.
But I'm not sure that an island hopping infantry versus infantry campaign would be the best choice.
What's CBI? Neil Young saying CBI is more interesting to me than actual Pacific.
Oh,
Is
is that
anyone?
China, Burma, and India?
Oh, so like the Burmese 14th Army kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I can actually hear Christians screaming from here, 14th Army.
14th Army, 14th Army.
14th Army.
They
Um,
existed.
yeah, they existed. So apparently there were one or two British actually
Couple.
somewhere in Burma or the
Yeah.
Pacific or somewhere that,
I remember
you
there was
know.
Gurkhas and Indians and East
Yeah,
Africans, but
but
I don't know about British.
no. But the thing about the 14th Army is that it's forgotten.
Mm. So
So
who
we'll
who
forget that.
remembers? Who remembers really? But yeah, I think
Sorry, guys, we've been stirring Christian about
we've been
this
stirring.
all
It's a
week.
bit of an inside joke,
All week.
but
uh,
yeah. So you got. I think they need to expand it. So either they make it so it's not just British versus Japan, like you're saying. If they're going to expand it, make it its own theatre, like how there's North Africa for mid-war and
yeah.
Eastern Front, and then they need to make the Pacific its own thing. But if they want to make it successful, I think they have to um, expand it, and that
Yeah.
might be a risk because, as you say, late war's probably where everyone really nerds out, and they want their late German tanks and everything. So yeah, it's something I'd
Yeah.
like to see, but I don't know if everyone else is the same.
The way they could do it is something that I noticed with Red Dawn is if you look at the missions in the Red Dawn book, those really small missions where it is one tank and some infantry versus a militia platoon or something where they're reenacting very small scenes from the movie, those were really gripping and interesting
Yeah.
scenarios. So I think if you actually did that with the Pacific, where it was you are infiltrating this, there
Yeah.
are these many guards here and something,
So make it more of a skirmish scenario than
mission-based skirmish.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So,
then have the option, if you want to have a bigger battle, you can do that too. But have that series of link scenarios like they had in.
Yeah. And even if you
one
made
where you
it
can make your own.
in the Pacific, there are a bunch of 25-point games.
Yep.
Because they'd need to match the points across so that if you took a Pacific thing to a tournament,
Yep.
it matched with somebody else's.
Yep.
So yeah, if they had a lot of better scenarios and a smaller points limit for that, I think that could make that work.
Maybe
So
a
that's
scenario
my
like
take on it.
building a bridge, and then the other guys have to blow up the bridge before the train goes over it or something.
Something like that, yeah. Oh dear. And just before we do go, because I know that Christian's going to be, he's in tears in the comment.
He's got
In
angry
the comments.
faces.
He is angry faces and tears. We're sorry, man. But if you're not going to be here, you can't do it.
Yeah, Chinese against
Chinese,
Japanese.
yeah, that would be fun. Yep. But
I
Christian
think
has
Burma
painted
would be
these.
excellent.
Yeah, Burma would be
Yeah.
fun. So
Beautiful, yeah.
these are British, these are Australians from
Australians.
Eureka Miniatures in 15 mil.
Yep.
And Christian has painted them up as Chindits.
Yeah.
So British or Commonwealth forces that were fighting in, that was Burma, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, Burma with who was that? The commander, he was a bit crazy. But,
Yeah, that guy.
yeah, that guy.
Manchuria would be interesting, somebody's saying. So yeah, there's a few votes for China.
Yep. Yeah, well, that Chinese, Japanese, that kind of Burma thing. And the thing I really like about Burma is it was kind of like an unloading point for all sorts of weird British equipment that they didn't want in Europe anymore. So you saw like Lees and Shermans and Grants all mixed together, and
absolutely
Stuarts and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, be really cool, unique. I just think they've got to work, as you say, really well on tailoring it.
Would that work better in early war for the Chinese though? So would that be the 1935?
Yeah, well, you could use those German figures almost for the Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know Gisley from Iceland did a unofficial early war Chinese list using German figures. So yeah.
Now, someone in the comments earlier said, "Plastic buffaloes, please," and that is Christian's plastic buffalo that he did the review of. What was that one? Was that a Mark I models? Buffalo?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah, he did an absolutely beautiful job on that. So yeah, something
Yeah.
like that in plastic would be very cool.
Yep. And you got the bow fighter there. God, that thing's
Yeah, we went bananas.
whispering
The
death.
Whispering Death, yeah, a bunch of those in
Oh,
foliage green for my Australians.
oof.
That'd screw you up.
And then
Um,
is that the oh, that's the Vengeance. That's the
Volty
best plane
Vengeance,
ever. That is the best
absolutely
plane
best
ever.
plane ever.
Yep.
Weirdly enough, the Australians didn't mind them, I don't seem to
They
recall.
really liked them. I know it got panned out. The Americans didn't like them, and they kind of offloaded them really quick to the British. And
But they
I'm
worked
sure
well for what
against
we needed them for.
yeah, I'm sure against in the European theater against the Germans it wouldn't have worked. But in the Pacific theater, it was a very, very accurate dive bomber, and that's what they really wanted. They didn't want super speed because they pretty much often had control of the air. They wanted accurate dive bombing, and it was rugged too. It could take some shots.
Yeah, it could take some
So
hits.
yeah,
Oh,
and
James
then
M is setting Beaufort as well for the Australians. Yeah, that you'd have to have two of those. So you'd have to have the one on the flight stand, and then you would have to have the one where the tail had fallen off and it had crashed, because you just have to roll for that every turn. Man, Beauforts were bad.
oh, and
Uh,
what was that Japanese one? I, I
that's
told you to put in
The KI 51 Sonya.
51. That's right. So that's
And would you
the.
believe I found two
Mm.
manufacturers that produce that in plastic in 1/100 scale,
Oh, interesting. Well,
or
that
one
was a
1/44th.
specially designed for the Japanese Army light support or light ground attack dive bombing aircraft.
Yeah,
So used pretty much extensively only in the Chinese Burma sort of Pacific theater.
yeah.
Yeah.
So those were our votes for aircraft.
Hmm.
This is me. I couldn't. I made the slides, so I get to do silly slides when I want to. So I want the AC-1 Sentinel armored troop, where armored squadron, where one of the troops is can be optionally replaced with Bob Semple's
Oh yeah.
as a New Zealand
Yep.
support option.
Yep.
So yep,
Yep.
two or three troops of Sentinels, a
Yeah.
HQ, and a troop
Does it get a
of Bob
special role for
Semple's.
the Schlong machine gun?
For whether or not the guy burns his nuts. Oh, you mean the great big penis
On
on
the
the front of
Sentinel.
the
Yeah,
Sentinel?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Hey, they have to bring back the tank terror. Like, it's
Yeah.
coming at me, bro.
I mean, because it was a Vickers that they had in. I just don't understand I mean, surely they must have.
Why put a water cooled gun in there?
Yeah. I mean, I
Because
guess it
that's
was
why it
what they
looks like
had.
that.
It's what
Yeah,
they had. I understand
yeah.
why they did it, but like, surely you could make it look like something else. I just.
Interestingly, while I was researching this, I came across some footage of. I didn't realize how many of these were produced. Like, there are 40 or 50 of them on exercise that I
Yeah.
actually have footage of from the Australian
Yeah.
War Memorial of these things on exercise in Australia. Um, and Spammer is saying Sentinel is a bootleg Sherman like the Ram. Yeah, it's exactly
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
same. Like, the
Exactly.
Canadians got it very right. We
Yeah.
had a bit of a stab.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got
the New
close.
Zealanders tried really hard.
I don't know. Didn't one have like a double-barreled 25-pounder or something on it? The
Yeah, they
experimental
put the
one.
double-barrel 25-pounder in the Sentinel to
Yeah.
mimic the recoil of putting a 17-pounder gun in. Because the Brits kept not giving them any 17-pounders, they were still
But how
trying to
good? How
develop
good
the
would it be?
tank.
Like double-barreled.
25-pounders, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like infantry support tank. So take
Oh
this,
yeah. Yes,
Japanese people.
please. Yeah.
Yeah, take these New Zealanders while we're
Yeah.
invading you.
Yeah. So you
That's
get
that's where
don't accept
Battlefront needs to
Federation.
go. Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Australia
Battlefront needs
versus
to do the Australian invasion of New Zealand
New Zealand. That's right.
in
Eat
1943.
Vegemite. Marmite sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the boomerang. I would really, really love to have some boomerangs.
That is a beautiful. It's a cute looking plane. I like that one. And the WWII as well.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I saw there's a air show where I go to at in Newcastle in the Hunter Valley from where I'm from, and
Yeah,
they often have the WWII there,
yeah.
so they're cool to watch. Yeah.
You could do that. There must be a plastic because the WWII is based on a lot of components from one of the American training aircraft.
Yeah, the Trojan or something, or
No, the Trojan's later. I can't remember. I'll scratch
the
my head about that later.
Curtis Hawk or something, or
No, it's a trainer.
let's have a
God, I
look.
should. The
Anyway,
AT6. The
the
AT6.
the
Yeah,
Texan.
the Texan. That's it.
Yeah.
But with a different tail. Somebody said baby 25 pounders.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm very sure that they will have the cut down 25 pounder. So I was looking into that the other day just because me and Harry were talking about it, and yeah, it's really cool. They cut down the chassis, they
Mm,
shortened the barrel, they took off the gun shield, and the whole reason was because they could airdrop them.
yeah.
They could literally shove them out the back of a
Oh,
at the
and
back
it
of a.
breaks down into, what is it,
Yep.
14 man portable
Yeah.
parts. So
Yeah.
you can have an artillery piece that you can hump through the
Yeah.
jungle on 14
Yeah. Well,
dudes.
if the Japanese could do it, why can't we do it? And we
Mm,
did. So apparently they didn't. They called them. What was it? I'll remember later. But the Australians had
okay.
a funny nickname for them.
Yeah.
Um,
Which I
yeah.
should know as well, and I don't. That's very embarrassing.
Yes.
So, early war. This one's interesting because I seem to recall there were plans for Battlefront to outsource that to Osprey, the same as NAM and Fate of a Nation before
Mm,
COVID did its thing.
yeah. They were. I don't know. I've got no idea what's happening with that now.
And I know early war gets a lot of love from people, but there are a lot of weird and unique things that you would have to do to make that go.
Mm.
Oh, somebody said 2 pounders in plastic. I'd
Well,
really be happy about that, except that I've forked out an absolute bloody fortune in buying all my 2 pounders in metal. I think I still owe my soul to Battlefront for the last set that I bought. And my firstborn children. I better get on that. Um, but anyway, so yeah, early war is probably going to happen at some point.
Yeah. I'm not. They will do it. I just. Yeah. I'm not sure when.
Yeah,
And I know a lot of people do it. I know there's a lot of people asking they want early war back. Well, and I think the problem is they want to play early war and they want the figures, and
yeah,
really for Battlefront that's where they get it. They don't make money on the rules. They don't
yeah.
make money on the
No,
cards.
it's selling
They
the.
make their money on the figures. So I mean, it's not that they don't want to give you the figures so you can buy them. It's just that they're limited with their production with the factory, unfortunately. Mm.
Oh, we've got a big vote for Matilda 2 there
Matilda 2, you can get them already.
in plastic. No, you can't.
Oh, in plastic.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's only plastic and
Superior
nothing
metal
else,
and
isn't there?
resin. Yeah.
So again, blah, blah, blah. So what do we got? Panzer 38T. So
Yeah.
interestingly, they didn't take the opportunity to make a great big sprue when they did um, the gun version of that in plastic.
Oh, the Marder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they didn't include an option to do a 38T, so they'd have to do
Well,
another sprue for that.
yeah, and they probably, I mean, they've got half the design done, so it probably makes it easier for them to do it later. Oscar
Uh,
was talking about the Nibelungenflaggenrag, those weird early war German multi-turreted tanks. Yeah, they're cool.
Neubaufahrzeug. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but they wouldn't be plastic; they'd be metal resin. But
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Trekan Belovic says the 6th Panzer Division with its 35Ts would have conquered Australia in 1940 all alone. Trekan, man, we lost the Emu War.
Yeah,
We lost to big birds,
yeah.
and we
The
had
only thing
machine
that
guns. So
the only thing that
yeah,
saves us is we're an island and
yeah,
it's hard to get here and it's
yeah.
far. Yeah.
So no, absolutely, man. If we did the German invasion of Australia in 1940 and early war. Yeah, it was just like we lose. There you go.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Good
Yeah,
game.
plastic char B1 would be cool.
A plastic Char B1 would be
Yeah.
great.
And
But there's so
the
many of the British A9, A10, A13 cruiser tanks that were coming through at that point every other week. There was some other different kind of cruiser
yeah, the
tank with
British kind
some
of went crazy
stupid
with
idea.
all their designs. They really kind of I mean, everyone gives the Germans stick for concentrating on all these different designs and wasting their resources. Well, the British did exactly the same thing, except worse. It was only until the Americans started pumping out Shermans and the British said, "Well, we'll take those," that they actually pretty much went
Oh,
on one
them's fighting
design.
words with a bunch of people I know. Uh, the cruiser tanks was the shakeout of the 1930s. The what is a tank gonna be? And they're not actually terrible tanks. I
Well, they're
mean,
good for the period.
there are dumb ideas like, no, don't put two machine gun turrets on the front of it, you wallies. Just take those away. But again, it was they were trying to figure out how stuff worked. Just to be honest, the German stuff of the time was better engineered. The British stuff, they were feeling their way through one design at a time to figure out what worked by building
Yeah,
shit and then having to fight with it.
yeah. I find it funny that they're the guys that invented the tanks in World War I, and the Germans pretty much copied them. And then you could see that the tank was going to be the one of the main elements in warfare going forwards, and they kind of didn't really develop it a lot. Where the Germans were like, "You can't have tanks. All right, well, we're going to design some in secret and not tell you
Yeah,
with the
which is
Soviets."
fine. Whereas the British went, can we build some tanks? And the Exchequer went, yeah,
Yeah,
here's £5, bring me back the change, you know?
yeah. And then they go, "Oh well, the Germans are building something. We can't defeat them. All right, we'll get the old boys that the TOG.
Oh, yeah,
Get
yeah, that's
So it's like,
that's embarrassing.
I
We
mean,
won't talk about that too much.
I think the TOG's cool. I like it, but it wasn't a great tank
It's
design.
not a realistic
Yeah,
no. That's like
yeah,
no. Just have a nice cup of tea and a lie down, and we'll
mm,
design the actual
yeah.
tanks.
And the Churchill, I like that as well. But I mean, really, the Churchill didn't get good until the Mark 7 or the.
Yeah, but
So
again, I mean the lack of investment in that stuff in the interwar years for the Brits is
yeah,
probably the big
I
issue.
guess for me is like why was there this lack of investment? Where everyone else seemed to be doing it, and they were just thinking, well, our navy will save us.
Yeah.
You know, yeah,
But also, I mean, the British had very, very good anti-tank guns,
mm,
but they hung on to them for too long. So the 2 pounder, the 40 mil gun was an absolutely fantastic gun
mm,
until it wasn't.
yeah,
So, and then the 6 pounder should have been out, but they were too busy
yeah,
recovering and producing more 2
yeah,
pounders. So there was that flow on effect of we've got the right design, we just can't get our. They organised the Kaiser will be hopping up and down because he'll be talking
oh,
about the fact that they
yeah,
organised production like not
mm,
like the Germans where they ran around and everybody
yeah,
was competing. It's like we have organised
yeah,
production, we have the tooling for this, we will keep
mm,
sticking with the 2 pounder because we've got the tooling for it until
mm,
we can sort
yeah.
it out.
And as Allard's pointed out, they're doing the same thing now with the Ajax. I mean, look at that. That thing's
Yeah,
just shaking to death. The guys can't drive into it because it's literally shaking that much.
yeah,
So yeah, and the Challenger 3, like, yeah. Anyway, yep.
yeah.
Sorry.
Let's not go anywhere there.
Yep.
But yeah, so there is a lot of fun stuff that we could do in early war. To
Mm.
be honest, no, they wouldn't do it. But Battlefront really should just run up to Zvezda and go, "Hey, mate, can we borrow those plastic kits for some of the
The
early war
the
stuff?"
Zvezda kits are
I
cheap
like them.
and they're basic. My issue is it's the lack of nice little extras. I find that
The
the thing
detail's
I
not
like
heavy enough.
I like the detail on the BF kits. I like the fact that it's got a magnet slot because I love magnets. I know people like little sticks,
Yeah,
and it
turret
comes
pegs.
with decals. And the tank sets come with decals.
I'm not saying sell the things. I'm saying say to Zvezda,
buy the
because
yeah
buy the molds
yeah
and maybe
yeah.
engrave the detail in a bit harder or something.
Mm,
It would be
mm,
possible to do, but once you get down to that level, it's probably worth actually making your own mold.
mm, mm.
But anyway, so
Ooh.
that brings us up to what else could we do? So we had this up for discussion for a week or so, and a surprising number of times was weird World War II and
Mm-hmm.
aliens. People wanted 1947 or so what's the thing? Conflict 47 in 15 mil, basically. People wanted to see the war continuing and weird technology being
Oh yeah,
introduced.
yeah.
And
I know what you're talking about. Like with the like Hydro in Marvel,
yeah,
basically.
basically.
Yep.
Conflict 47.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. Yeah.
it. Um,
Yeah. That'd be cool.
that would be. I just put that in because that was silly
Oh
and for fun. I mean, that was a
yeah.
genuine 1950s proposal. There were some very weird things that happened.
And Josh Betts is just trying to get Spam Royal worked up again. He's commenting about Lebanese Shermans for Team Yankee. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
That's what we need, Josh. For him
yeah,
going on about more Shermans.
yeah.
Great. Yeah.
Keep taking the pills, Spammeray.
Yeah.
We love you, man. We really do.
My dog's trying to
Uh,
get in. Go away.
oh dear. So that was our
Mm.
plans for the future.
Mm.
So
So
what do you think? I mean, some of this has been very tongue in cheek. Some of it is stuff that is going to happen more like the Berlin Book and an updated oil war and stuff is definitely going to happen. Um,
I think someone like they mentioned before about Korea. I think you could also, if Team Yankee continued to be popular, I think they could do something like in the Pacific, like with I don't know if you guys ever played Panzer General. They had a game called Pacific General, which was
yeah.
a theory, a World War III kind of with China and North Korea and all that sort of stuff. So you had things like Singapore and Vietnam and all that sort of thing thrown in. So I think that would be
Well, Singapore would be fun.
Malaysia.
Yep.
Yeah, so they've all got, and I know India's got its own pretty much what would you call it? Its own tank industry and jet industry at the moment. They're not relying on other countries anymore to buy their weapons. They're producing their own. So
So in the stuff during the
yeah,
week, there were a few people who wanted to do
yeah.
ultra
Sorry,
modern.
Oscar, People's General.
Oh, People's General.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah, some people were saying ultra modern stuff so that they could do current Ukraine and
Ooh.
China versus wherever. Yeah, probably not.
BF wouldn't touch
Um,
that. I don't think. Not yet.
again, oh
Give
no,
it
damn!
10 years.
I said the U word. We're going to get demonetized again, man. I'm so sorry.
No, I didn't mention the
No, I
the,
did. It
the
was me. I
no,
said
but
it
I
out
didn't
loud.
mention the cages.
Yeah, don't do
It
that.
should be fine. It should be
We
fine.
should be fine. But anyway, so that's the issue there is with doing ultra modern stuff.
Mm.
And besides, most of it's Leopard 2s now anyway, so that's fine. They've already got the kits for that.
I don't know. Germans aren't giving anyone Leopard 2s,
I thought they were giving everybody Leopard 2s.
except for the people with the country that starts with U.
All right. Oh dear. Yeah, so we've prognosticated as hard as we can, guys.
Procrastinated?
No, prognosticated, I think. So, do you have any clue about future scenario pieces that they can release? Fernando from Portugal is asking that. I think you're from Portugal, I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Because again, we don't have a direct line, or certainly I don't have a direct line to Battlefront, so I can't ask them questions. A lot of the stuff we've been doing has been guesswork and supposition, and if I was Battlefront, what would I make for a particular theatre and time period?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they would flesh out Team Yankee to expand into, like we said before.
Because Team Yankee was an unexpected success, wasn't it?
I think so. I think it blew up a lot
It
bigger than
proved
they thought
more
it would.
popular than they initially
Yes.
anticipated. Certainly,
Yes.
that's my era. I mean, I'm a Cold War
Mm,
baby. I grew up in the Cold War,
mm,
facing the Russians across
yeah.
the wire on the Berlin Wall was
And
what I
for
grew
me,
up
it's
with.
just as big or just as popular, if not maybe more popular than late war. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
so yeah. So, is that K2PL? Is that the Korean Black
Yeah, the
Panther or
K2
something team?
Polish version, I
Oh,
believe.
the Polish one. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I've been
That's not even a
watching.
real tank.
It's not a real tank yet. I've been watching. There's a really
Perun.
interesting Australian guy, Perun,
Mm,
who does a lot of YouTube analysis of that stuff, and he talked
yeah,
about Poland's spending spree, where they just went everywhere and bought everything,
yeah,
including Korean tanks that don't exist yet.
yeah,
But yeah, we'll have some of them.
yeah, sure.
Let's
And
put
they're
it on
just
this
getting
credit
Abrams
card.
as well. Yeah, yeah.
Yep,
Magic credit card, central bank. Yeah,
yep.
but
Well, the good thing about being a government is you can just like print more money.
hmm money printer go.
uh,
Brrr.
yeah, money printer go brr.
Um,
So Christian is in the comments now. It's your fault if there's no 14th Army being talked about on this thing, man.
we
That's
did.
that's down
We
to
said
you.
we mentioned them once, I think, and how
Yeah,
they
we
were
did
forgotten.
vaguely. Yeah, and then we
Mm,
forgot them again
mm,
because that's what they're for.
mm, mm, mm.
But
Will
no.
they restart production for NAM? Um,
Ooh.
eventually, yes, but I don't. I think that's the problem, and the whole reason why they went from V3 to V4 was to go back and reduce their SKU range.
Yeah.
And now they've gone, oh wow, Team Yankee is really popular, like you're saying. Um, and they've probably reduced their Flames of War SKU range and then gone and doubled it with the Team Yankee.
Mm.
And it's still just the one factory. So I guess if they could outsource to someone else to produce it, but the problem is they'd have to really trust them for their
Or
quality.
have, yeah, they would have to spend a lot of their time in quality control and management and stuff.
Mm,
I remember when the Osprey books came out, there was a bunch of errata and
mm,
misprints and stuff that
mm,
came out of that. There were some quality control issues that
mm.
showed it was an early version of a cooperative agreement. I mean, I bought Fate of a Nation and NAM. I've got both the books, which were
Yeah,
not cheap.
yeah,
I remember paying 70 Australian dollars for mine or something stupid,
yeah.
but
Something I think what they could do because people are going, I want this range, I want this, I want this. If something we've talked about, I think before, where they, how they used to do the premium property range, and you could kind of pre-order them. And I've seen guys talk about it on Facebook, and I think if they chose to do that in the future and said, look, we're going to produce kind of like how Games Workshop does the thing at the moment where they say, is it buy it now, or they're going to remake them in
yeah,
metal or something, and you can
yeah,
order them for a period of 2 weeks or something. You put your orders in, and then they pump them out over, I don't know, however many
yeah.
months later. If they did something like that, and I think they would probably want to do something like that, but they've just got to get their factory
What you mean, like
production.
the resin Chinooks and hips and what have you
Oh
that are
no, more like
probably
the old.
limited run, or
So more like in the old, like I remember in the old days before I wanted 18 stag hounds. So I talked to someone and I got them to make me 18 stag hounds.
yeah,
So you can, I don't see any other reason why they couldn't do that same thing again if they got, something on their website and said,
so you're talking about a minimum order.
yeah,
So we will
but more,
produce these when we get 350 orders
yeah,
for it or
or
something. Yeah,
whatever. And I'm
yeah.
sure, or let's say 100, probably they wouldn't even need 350, but
Okay.
say that there's that many. It is as long as the mold is still good and they
Yeah.
don't have to spend a lot of money or whatever, and maybe they will choose to redo the mold if they
Yeah.
get enough.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people would love to do that made to order range. James M saying yes, Josh and Better
Yep.
saying yes. I know I'm saying yes. So yeah, so I think
Neil Young here in the comments has made an interesting point. If they go down the route of no cards in boxes, they could reduce the SKUs even further.
Well, they've done that already.
Yeah. I keep forgetting I can do this. Look, there we go.
Oh yeah, hey, Neil.
Hey, man. They could reduce the SKUs even further. Why do a late war of the Panzer 4 and 6 pounder, etc.? Yeah.
Well,
and I think they got caught up with that because the way they started doing it with version 4, they didn't realize how unwieldy it was going to get.
Yep. And then you've seen now that they're not putting unit cards in the boxes anymore. So they're probably going to do exactly like your...
Yeah, I can see why, and that's fine. Yeah. I do remember it being a promise going from V3 to V4 is that you won't have to buy something extra. You'll be able to play them straight out of the box.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I'm actually won over. Like, if you can reduce the number of SKUs so that you buy the Panzer 3 box, and then you buy the unit pack for whichever particular version of the Panzer 3 you want to use in the desert or whatever.
Yep. So, and then what you would have is, instead of having, you'd still have to, well, I don't know, maybe, but you'd probably go, well, here's the desert, the Africa, let's go 6 pounder, for example. Here's the desert 6 pounder, and we would probably use the same one for Eastern Front, even though you can't. But anyway, and then you'd go, well, and here's the late war 6 pounder, and you'd probably have both like they've done with the 17 pounder. You get both the paratrooper and the normal British crew unit. So,
because to be honest, sticking a bunch of extra, that would probably work. Having a few extra figures in the box set so that it did early, mid, and late war with the one SKU would probably,
What do you mean, ASK? Means you can buy third party whenever you want.
No, I think he's replying to something else.
Oh, right, sorry.
So Shaka is saying, if they just stop making Shermans think of the factory capacity, that would be freed up. Well, everybody's got too many Shermans now anyway. I mean, or did just Spamurai buy them all? I don't know.
It's just Spamurai.
It's just him. Okay, that's cool.
Italian infantry, I was asking about the same thing, and I've been told that they're kind of catching up now. So you should see Italian mid-war, to get them at the moment, Italian infantry back in stock, if not already, very, very soon.
I mean, given they did the mid-war Italians in a book, it would be kind of nice to be able to buy those. Yeah,
well, I think that's what a lot of guys are saying. I want to play mid-war with my friends, and I want to buy Italians, and you can't get any, but I'm pretty sure they're coming back in. Neil Young said he'd definitely get some special order Fusilieri. So would I, except I've already spent too much money on a heap of old stuff. But but exactly. Fusilieri, you could do your black shirts and your normal Italians and all that sort of stuff. What's this human? I don't know. It's like the 14th Army. No one knows.
Yeah, no one knows. Speaking of Italy, chances getting a late war Italy book.
I think if they did something like, you know how they did the paratrooper booklets and the 21st Panzer booklet, that would be a way I would fill that gap, I guess. And they used to do PDFs, so I mean, maybe we could see something like that in the future.
Yep. So with the late war Italy book, wouldn't you need like the special figure holding the flag?
Which
the white flag?
Oh. The French on the retreat.
I'm in so much trouble now. Look, we are nearly half an hour over time, and we are just talking shit now. Look, we've prognosticated as hard as we can. Thank you to everybody in the comments. You guys have really added to this by being here and sharing our shit with us.
Yep.
And Christian sending angry faces through the comments to us
Yeah, that was
ignoring the
good.
14th Army has just been
That was
it's been
classic.
worth
Love
the
it.
price of admission.
Compilation books. I like the
Yeah,
compilation books too.
compilation books. Wasn't
Um,
sold on them to begin with, and then but you get all the things to complete that
yeah,
era in one book. Yeah, I'll go along with
yeah,
that. They're a good idea.
yeah.
And certainly the viewing figures for any of the reviews of those I've done, people are talking about really liking that.
Yeah.
So that's great.
What I'd like, if anyone, if in the comments you could just write down, if they were to do a special order, what you'd like to see in the special order going forward, and who knows, maybe if we make enough noise, Battlefront could see how much people want of certain
Yep,
things, and yeah.
absolutely. But anyway, we need to wrap this up because we're massively over time. But this is always such a pleasure.
Mm.
It is the last one for 2022, so I'm very sorry
Oh,
about that. But we're definitely going to come back in 2023.
yep.
And hopefully Christian will survive and we'll actually be able to come back on again. And maybe we can talk about the 14th Army. I don't know, Christian.
Yeah. Alan said he's going to go and read about who the 14th Army actually were. I mean, it's a mystery,
Right.
really. Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody noticed, but in the background of my stuff, we're slowly starting to get my studio finished.
I like the lights,
So
Harry.
the lights are fun.
I think you
The
should show everyone how good that on air,
Oh,
how
okay.
good
Hang on.
that
I
is.
got to go
I
to
think you
me.
should show them.
All right. So I bought this really expensive on-air light from. Had to have it shipped from the UK. The only problem is when I turn it on, you can't read it. So the on-air light has to be off. Oh man, that's just crazy. But also, where are we? I promised I wouldn't do this to anybody, but you
Oh,
know,
look at that. It's so
how good's
festive.
this? It is so festive.
Mm.
Oh man, where have you gone? Oh, there you are.
I'm here.
Okay.
Oh,
So yeah, it is. So we've got Christmassy lights in the background now, which is very cool. I should have done that with the hat, with my
yeah,
bar humbug hat.
put your Santa light
All
vision
right,
goggles back
I
on.
got
I
it.
thought
Yeah,
that was a
night
great
vision
comment.
goggles for Santa. Oh man. Oh, there we go. Okay. So we are definitely going to wrap up this stream. Adam, thank you, and Christian. This just came about for us. We just started doing this because we're stupid, and it's been a lot of fun. And part of what makes it fun is the people who tune in. So, guys, have a very Merry Christmas or whatever festive season that you guys have, wherever in the world you happen to be.
Yep.
And
Have a Festivus for the rest of us.
yeah, Festivus for the rest of us. That's very cool. And we will be back in 2023. And
Mm-hmm.
I promise I won't ever do that with these lights again.
I think it's cool.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Cheers.